Hold on. Yeah, we're online.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
There's no one yet.
Oh.
Hold on.
Hello, no one.
Hold on. I'm just gonna write a few stuff first. Yeah, we're online. Oh, there's
Hello,
my
everyone.
voice. There's no one yet. Okay. I'm just gonna mute that.
Yeah, no one needs to hear their voice repeated back. It's very
Yeah.
random. You're like, oh, is that how I sound? Oh. The live on YouTube is pretty crazy. Have you got that name on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Hold on. I got the link now.
Are you putting it on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm just sharing the link of this live session now.
Will people be able to ask questions?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Hold on.
Oh, happy days being at Limitless. That was such a great workshop. It was awesome.
Yeah, we're not doing it this year.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so great though.
Hold on, let me fix things.
The pool party.
All right, we're live. I'm just waiting for people to come in. All right, people are already coming in.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
I'm just gonna write something. Visit my YouTube for better quality.
You're typing sideways.
It's an iPad.
Oh. I know, I was impressed. I was like, wow, he's just like.
All right, shall we start?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so hi guys. Hello again.
Hey.
Linda, how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, really good.
We're fine. Nice and
Yeah.
healthy. Hope everyone's staying healthy at home.
Yeah, I hope you're all okay.
Yeah, that's the hope. All right, so now I would like for you guys to introduce yourselves. So you guys are from the UK, obviously, and you have a certain style of photography. Could you explain maybe in a few words what your style is, how you shoot, and
Okay.
what are you guys? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Liam.
I'm Dom.
We are wedding photographers that shoot in a street photography style. We have been working since 2006 as wedding photographers, so quite a while. We didn't always shoot in a street photography style, but we kind of progressed into that somewhat by accident, somewhat by choice. And yeah, we shoot weddings all over the world. We do street photography as well, obviously.
Yeah, we're a brother and sister duo and kind of a creative collaboration.
Could you guys please more elaborate on the accident?
Okay, so from 2006 until I think it was about 2013, we shot weddings as we thought weddings should be shot. We didn't really know any different. We did a bit of street photography, a little bit during that time, but it wasn't connected to weddings at all. And it was just kind of very much a hobby that was done to the side, and the two weren't connected anyway. And during that period, like weddings, because weddings are actually quite, they're difficult to shoot. They're not easy, and they're actually quite creatively fulfilling. But after a period of 8 years of shooting weddings in a particular type of style, it got to the point where I guess we'd stagnated a little bit, and we wanted to kind of progress as photographers and be kind of, I guess, creatively fulfilled in some way. And we weren't necessarily getting that in the same way from weddings anymore. So we decided to go and shoot street photography on a kind of regular basis, not necessarily to bring that to weddings, but just to improve ourselves as photographers and to keep kind of creatively inspired. So we went out and shot street photography, and we did that for kind of quite intensively, probably for about a year. Because when we were looking at our wedding photos, from like the 2013, when we kind of look back at the pictures that were taken the previous year, I guess we felt like we'd kind of reached a certain level, and we wanted to the kind of photography that we really loved wasn't what we were producing.
Yeah, we kind of felt like we'd hit a glass ceiling, you know, and we're like, is this it? Is this we done? Like we were kind of like stuck, I guess, in a box as well. You know, we were stuck thinking that this is what wedding photography should be. And then by doing the street, it was just a way of being creatively fulfilled and finding a way of doing things. But it wasn't like this is going to be street style wedding photography, because we didn't know anything. That wasn't a thing. So
no, you can't plan these things, really.
No.
You know, when you look back, it's very easy to go like, oh, well, this is obviously how it progressed. But that wasn't the case, you know. It's very much kind of, it makes sense looking back, but at the time it was just making decisions that felt right. So when we started to do street photography on a regular basis, we were doing it to improve ourselves as photographers, and we started to put street work on our blog, and couples were connecting with that work in a different way than they were connecting with our wedding work, and we were kind of getting.
How is it different? How is it different?
How is it different?
Yeah.
Well, for couples, some couples aren't necessarily interested in wedding photography. Like it's just not interesting to them. But street photography is something that does interest them. So it was a way of connecting with them in a different way. And weddings and street photography are different. Like before, we were very much doing posed work. There was very much a focus on portraits and groups, and all of that kind of thing was very much part of our kind of work. Whereas now it's not at all. Now there's been a complete shift away from that. But the kind of, by putting street photography on our blog and getting a different kind of couple being interested and them just connecting with that kind of work, made us think, well, if they're connecting with that more so than our wedding work, then maybe it's okay to kind of move in that direction, because that's kind of interesting to us.
Do you lose a lot of couples because of that? Or like your inquiries going down?
I think probably inquiries went down, but bookings went up, like the percentage.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
so you're not kind of like not trying to appeal to every single person. You're trying to appeal to like a smaller market, but that market are very passionate about what you do and therefore tend to book you. So it's a smaller market, but it's a market where we feel comfortable as well, because it's the kind of, what's the photography that we love, and a lot of our couples love photography. They're artists, they're directors, you know, they're authors. They go in some kind of creative kind of field. And because of that, you know, they want to talk to us about photography as well. And that's what really excites us. And, you know, it doesn't matter that we don't appeal to everyone, because we don't need to appeal to everyone. We only need like 20 to 25 couples to love our work a year.
Yeah, we're not selling like mass products. We're selling a very niche kind of thing. And you know, if we were trying to maybe sell to 100,000, 200,000 people, it'd be very different to if we were trying to appeal to 20 to 25, you know. We're not really making any more money or shooting any more or less than we were before. It's just, you know, but I guess, yes, we don't get as many inquiries, but we convert a lot more.
So I have a question for you guys. You told me earlier that wedding photography is one of the most or more difficult genres of photography.
Yeah.
But for some people, street photography is quite hard as well. So if you mix both of them, it becomes very hard. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, they are very hard. Well, I think you need to be able to shoot a wedding well, first of all, before you can even think about trying anything different. because it took time. It's not as if we just turned up at our first wedding and could just fly through the wedding. It took a long time for us to kind of get used to being able to shoot weddings, because it's not always the ideal situation. It's not always the ideal light. You have to get pictures constantly throughout the day. So if you're shooting a ceremony and someone says to you, "Oh, did you get any pictures?" You can't be like, "No, I didn't get anything." It has to be like, "Yes, I got pictures. Yes, of course I did." So you constantly have to get pictures throughout the whole day. But that's different with street photography. That's different because there is everything to photograph, and yet there's nothing to photograph at the same time. You can photograph whatever you want, and that's freeing in some ways, but in other ways it can be kind of, I guess, it lacks a structure that a wedding has. Like, a wedding has a structure, so you kind of know where you are throughout a wedding day and what you need to achieve. But street photography doesn't have that. So by street photography, you've got to think about what it is that you want to photograph and why you're photographing. And also, if you're going to take pictures of people on the street that you don't know, I like to think personally, from, if someone said, "Oh, what can I see the picture that you took?" I'd have a reason as to why I took that picture, so I could show them something. It wouldn't just be like, I'm just taking it because I don't know why I'm taking the picture. So it makes you, street photography helps you think about what it is that's important to you about photography, what it is that you want to shoot, what you want to focus on, why you take pictures, and then bring that to your wedding photography. And yes, shooting weddings, I guess, or shooting in a street style at a wedding is difficult, but that's what we use street photography for, to practice and kind of rehearse for us, to bring that to the wedding environment. And only when we felt like comfortable that we could shoot weddings in that kind of style throughout the whole day, and know as confidently that we were going to get street style pictures as we were going to get kind of more of the older style picture that we were taking previously, as comfortable in both, that's when we kind of pushed it more towards street and say, this is what we want to do, and this is how we're going to kind of sell ourselves to couples.
So yeah, so we kind of put it online until when we felt like comfortable that we could, so when we kind of went all in, when we realized, okay, we can do this comfortably at each wedding, we can add these kind of elements into our work, so we'll be putting them on our website and getting rid of the portraits in the groups, but only when you're ready, because otherwise you can get yourself in a situation where you can't produce what you're saying you can.
And every decision that you take is usually there's a year kind of gap between going, okay, this is what we want to do and this is what we can change, because people will also book you on what you previously did. So you have to provide that work as well. So there's always like a gap of time. There's like a lag of time between when you make a decision and when you can actually fully implement it on your website.
So earlier you said also that you're not allowed to miss important moments on a wedding. So how for street photography, sometimes you have to take risks, right?
Sure.
And how do you manage to keep like all the moments intact while you're taking those risks?
I mean, at first, there was definitely an advantage of there being two of us. So one of us could always kind of make sure we concentrated on getting those main moments and kind of just be kind of playing more safe, and the other person could be more risky. And there's still an element of that now, but the problem we found is now people will book us mostly on the street photography kind of moment. So almost that becomes like more of a priority for us.
Yeah.
But we've shot weddings for so long that it's got to a point where we can do both kind of at the same time. And it's not too much of a stretch for us to be able to kind of shoot the moments throughout the wedding whilst also keeping an eye on other possibilities. Because essentially the way that we work is that we kind of go from moment to moment, and I will shoot through scenes or get ready, be composed early in scenes and let things play out. And sometimes you're just photographing kind of safe moments, but that's fine because you're kind of keeping alive to other situations and other possibilities that might be kind of maybe more interesting to us.
Mm-hmm. You want to add anything, Dom? Or
that was a good response. Yeah, in terms of, for us, the big moments, like if you looked at our gallery, You know, you would see that it is, there is the big moments, the small moments, and there's the kind of the humor and the layers. But like, we want to make sure that our couples get a nice wide variety of things. So like for the ceremony, for instance, we're not just going to be shooting like F8, you know, layered stories. You know, we want to also capture, you know, things that are much more intimate, you know, that it's just like a single element, you know. So it really depends on like on the story you want to tell, to kind of the image that you want to take. So it's not like our work is all just at F8 or anything like that at all. You know, we choose, depending on the story we want to tell, is the kind of the aperture we choose and the shutter speed and all that kind of thing. So for us, I mean, I would say that like I think that some of our images like have would be more in the more kind of the main moment kind of category and what other photographers would do. But like my friends see them and they're like, oh no, I can still tell that's a York Place image, which I find really funny. Like, because I don't see that like that. But
you know, it's difficult to kind of miss main moments at weddings. Like it's difficult to just miss the ceremony or miss the cutting of the cake or the speeches. They're big moments that are kind of, hello, there's something going on here, photograph it, you know? So you're kind of very much focused on those moments. It's the kind of the smaller moments that are quieter and more subtle. They're they're easy to miss. The kind of ones that are more streety, if you want to label it streety, you know. They're the ones.
So how do you practice like to be more aware of the small moments? How do you practice yourself to be more aware?
Yeah, it's something that essentially by doing street photography a lot helped us. Like I think you could just do it through wedding photography, but sometimes challenging yourself in an environment outside of weddings is really useful to kind of help you just basically try and create something from nothing. So when you're out on the street, it's about how am I gonna make this work? And some of it's like, for example, a lot of wedding photography or a lot of documentary wedding photography, it's about bringing context to a scene. But with street photography, a lot of the time it's about removing context. So you don't show what's going on. You hide the actual thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to necessarily like document an event. You're trying to, so if often for street photography, we'll attend an event that's going on and there'll be something going on, but we're not going to show what's going on. And by hiding the event, that's really useful because sometimes when you're at weddings, the instinct is always to bring context, show what's going on, show the wedding itself. But sometimes it's nice to not show what's going on and bring an element of mystery to the moments. And that can...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's about changing your mindset as well. You know, like the point of the day where, you know, in the reception when nothing's going on and there's no big moments and just accepting and not going like, oh, there's nothing going on. I'll go and have a sandwich or something, you know, or whatever you want to do, or you're concentrating on something else or getting a drink. But that's the point that's really, really interesting to us, you know, the reception, you know, where there is just small moments. It's all people are doing. They're just kind of like, if the groups are going on, for instance, then Liam is just got the guests and some people, they're literally just, you know, they're sitting around drinking. You know, and you've got to find stories in those, and you have to really search then, and that's what Liam was saying. It's like that's when you really start to bring out kind of the street kind of techniques, but it is about mindset and also like embracing the fact that okay, it might be a boring scenario, but why should boring be boring? You know, boring can be interesting if you present it in the right way. So for us, I'd say that just changing your mindset, which really helped by being on the street.
So talking about boring weddings, there's a lot of wedding photographers are complaining that their weddings are boring. So for you guys, there's no such thing as boring weddings then?
No, it's not. No. I know that before we started shooting weddings for a long time, I wanted to shoot a particular type of wedding, whereas really I should have been looking for a particular type of person. It was the kind of wrong attitude to have. And I also know that there was weddings that we used to shoot that had amazing images that we didn't see, we couldn't see. And you can't take photographs of things you don't understand or can't see. So there was opportunities missed for us in like the first 8 years of us shooting weddings that are now different. And yeah, I think there isn't such thing as a boring wedding. You know, I think there can be a wedding that isn't what you necessarily it doesn't fit your preconceived idea of what you would ideally like to be shooting at that period of time. But you can always, like most things most things that go wrong, or most things that don't work, are a failure of imagination. So it's trying to use your imagination to make the situation interesting, and don't look at it in a negative way. Like, you've always got to be positive about the situation, remain positive about what's in front of you. And if it seems kind of not what you necessarily would wish that it was, just shoot it for what it is. Make, hold a mirror up to the situation. You can find humor in that. Like, that's a big thing for us in our work, is finding humor in situations. Like, we don't just want our couples to, when they look at our work, just to kind of cry. We want them to laugh as well. That's like a good, strong emotion that people can have, an enjoyment from it. And it's something that can help, like, other future couples connect with your work. So it doesn't always have to be like a romantic tale. You can find humor, and there's lots of different kind of emotions that you can find.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be as simple as just, romance. And also, you've got to embrace the wedding for what it is. Like, you can take a lot of mental energy up if you're just thinking, I wish it was sunny. I wish it was cloudy. I wish it was, I wish I was in a different room. I wish. And if you're wishing all these things, then you're not actually concentrating what's in front of you. And what in front of you is, I guarantee you, is going to be great. You just have to find a way to make it great, because it is. And if you're thinking, I wish, and I'm in a negative space and there's nothing there and it's boring, then you're not going to find anything. It's like on the street. If you go out in everything is rubbish, you're not going to find anything. It's amazing what a positive mental attitude does to finding photographs.
Beautiful, guys.
Yeah, a lot of it's about being positive.
All right. I have another question as well. So in the industry, there's this definition, like, I'm a photojournalist wedding photographer. So what is different between a street photographer and a photojournalist wedding photographer, in your opinion?
Okay, I mean, it's difficult to, like, street photography can be many different things to many different people, because it's such a wide kind of field. But taking photojournalism, that's very much about telling the true story of what happened. Whereas street photography, it's not necessarily a true story. It's you are creating a story from your kind of imagination of what's going on. It's a bit more personal about what's happening.
Yeah, so like, if you're holding up a mirror, if it was a photojournalist, so you're reflecting back, you're trying to show exactly what it was. But with street, you're trying to show kind of your personality, your point of view. So it's like a mirror skewed, So it's like you're like, okay, how can what's interesting to me about this scene, and what can I work around it? Whereas for photojournalism, it's about capturing really what it was like.
So where did you learn about this humor stuff in street photography? I think like inspirations, and where do you get those kind of, like, you see these kind of scenes happening? How do you know that that's humor? Where do you learn those stuff?
I don't know, for something like humor, that you can learn it. I think
it's like what makes you laugh.
Yeah, it's just what is funny to you. Like, there's inspirations. Martin Parr or Matt Stewart, take kind of funny street photography. So there's people that kind of, I guess, opened our eyes to the possibilities of that photography can be funny. But in terms of something that's something that you find funny, it's a very personal thing. Like, some people, and you've got to take photographs that feel very natural to you. Like, you never want to be ever thinking in a situation, what would photographer X do here? Yeah. You want to be thinking, okay, what am I taking? What's interesting to me in this situation? And if that's a funny picture, then take it. Because the thing is, if it's funny to you, you're not alone. Other people are going to find it funny too. So that's the that's the whole ethos around this, really, is just trust that there's enough people, like, you're not alone. There's enough people out there. If you find something interesting or funny, other people will too. Other people will connect with it. Like, don't ever second guess what a bride and groom may or may not like. If you like it, take it. That's good enough. You don't want it, because who knows? You don't know. We've taken pictures before where it's like, oh, you know, in the edit, you're like, oh, will they like it? Yes or no? You don't worry about it. Just give it to them. If they don't like it, they can delete it. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
you know. But if you like it, that's enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it is sense of humor. It's just so personal. It's, you know, it's what do you find funny? What makes you laugh? You know, everyone likes different books. Everyone likes different movies. You know, everyone's different. And that's the joy. You know, that's the joy of photography. That's the joy of life. You know, if you gave like everyone a camera and we all went and shot the same event, we wouldn't come back with the same set of pictures, you know, because everyone would be attracted to different things. And someone might see a guy under the table, I don't know, picking up something, and looks like it's a man with just a table of legs. You know, that would make me laugh. But other people wouldn't see that. They would probably see something else, maybe something more literal, you know, like someone with wacky glasses, you know. Whatever they saw, you know, if an event was happening, you wouldn't come back with the same set of pictures. Me and Liam are attracted to the same things, you know. At a wedding, we don't look for the same one because we don't want to be taking the same images, but two, we see differently, you know, and that's the joy of photography. We all see differently.
All right, this actually leads to my next question. How do you differentiate yourself? Like, you know, if I see your blogs, it's like I couldn't really tell which one is Liam, which one is Dom. So how would you describe your personal style, your personal interest? What does Dom like in shooting? What does Liam like in shooting a wedding?
I mean, because we're it's a creative collaboration, like we do influence each other.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
that you can't stop that from happening, really. We definitely find ourselves being influenced by each other. But I guess the stuff that I'm more natural at would be the kind of lots of layered multi-story kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Dom would probably be kind of like quieter moments and more kind of
Yeah.
I guess family orientated stuff.
Yeah, like from the heart kind of moments, you know. And it's not like you don't do those, and it's not like I don't lair,
No.
but it's just a natural thing for me. Is like Liam will always say like, no more children pictures, because I can't help myself. I just love them, and I love photographing them, and they make me laugh, you know. And Liam's got loads of great pictures of kids as well, but we have so many in our portfolio. It's like, you know, and also they're easier, you know. So you've really got to like challenge yourself with adults to find something that's humorous or, you know, that has something about it. So that's what we've been working with. It's been kind of a little challenge, hasn't it, for a while?
It is, but we definitely progressed each other by
Yeah,
learning off each other. Like I think if you can ever find another person that you trust, that you can just share ideas with, then I think that's a great thing to have just as a creative, because sometimes it's difficult to know if decisions you're making, you know, you're not going crazy, you know. Sometimes it's good just to talk through things. You don't have to listen exactly to what they say, but sometimes it's good to get feedback. So I'd always encourage people to talk to other people whose work they admire, their opinions that they trust, just to kind of share, and it helps you improve as a photographer. There's no doubt that we've improved from sharing ideas quicker than if we'd just been alone.
It's just nice. It's nice to have someone to talk about the images as well and get excited by them. You know, on the wedding day at lunch, you can talk about things and get excited and then be ready for the next part. And the same with the edits. And it's just nice to have a collaboration. Like creativity is what we're really, you know, what we love. So the fact we get to share it together is great.
Yeah, because in the UK, I see a lot of photographers solo, like single shooting the whole wedding. So for you guys, is it like a different dynamic between like a single, between a single photographer and
I guess, I mean, because we've hardly ever shot apart, only a few times, it's difficult to know exactly. But yes, I guess it is a different dynamic. But essentially, you can achieve the same thing. You know, it's not as if like we could shoot separately and it'd be the same thing. It'd just be a little bit watered down.
It'd be tricky to offer like groups and things like that, you know. You'd have to be a little bit more, I think, tight on it, you know, because like, you know, sometimes, not often now, but sometimes I'll be given like, you know, 6 groups to do, and that takes up time. Whereas for Liam, he's still doing the documentary, he's still doing the story. I'm cool, and I'm looking for the little moments in the groups anyway. One of my favorite pictures was taken during the groups, so that's that's absolutely fine. But on your own, it must be really hard. You must have to, I think you have to be more strict on the groups, I guess, to make sure that you do reportage as well, because really, ideally, you don't want to do any of that. You know, you just want to concentrate on the reportage on what they're giving you. And sometimes you're given that option, which is awesome. It happens quite a lot to us now. Although there is something about doing the groups where you get the cluster of people together, and you know, I don't mind at all. Do you know what I mean?
Which I think is always,
yeah, you can see people's heights, and the kids are always very entertaining at that point. So yeah, for me, I don't mind at all. Whatever the bride and groom want, you know, they as long as they like what we do, then that's great with me. You know, obviously if they want like fancy groups or anything like that, you know, like the Annie Leibovitz-esque sort of groups, well, that's going to take time, and it's not something that we do. But and people are great at it, you know, embrace what you're good at and what you, as Liam said, you know, what you feel comfortable shooting.
Yes. So you obviously direct groups and post them. Do you do that to the couples as well, or you just let them be?
Just let them be. Like there's, apart from groups and any portraits that they may want on the day, the rest of the day, nothing. Not we won't say anything to them. I mean, we'll talk to them if they want to talk to us, but you know, obviously, but we're not going to be like, move here, go over, stand over here, please do that again. I never want a couple to remember what they were pretending to do. I just want them to just live their day. And I found that when you do kind of move people, it kind of makes them look to you for guidance on the day, and that kills spontaneity. And we're like, we need spontaneity. We need spontaneity throughout the wedding day. And if we lose that, then that's a big part of what we're trying to achieve. So it's about kind of balancing what's right for you. Like if that kind of spontaneity is not important for you, if you don't want that kind of thing, then pose away, move people, you know. There's no right or wrong way to doing any of this. It's just what you feel comfortable with and what you deem to be the most important thing in what you're trying to achieve with your photography, and then kind of go backwards from that.
So how do you brief the couples? It's, for me, listening to that, it's like a dream for me, like no posing the couple at all. How do you brief the couples? How do you explain it to them? During weddings, like they usually want some time, just the two of them, but how do you tell them to not wait for directions?
Well, I think for us, like we don't show portraits on our website like at all. We don't show groups on our website at all. So the only images that they've ever seen are real moments. We make that very clear to them. So I think that they have very little expectations on the portraits in a way. You know, they don't expect them at all, and we won't do them unless they want them. And if they just said, oh, maybe a couple, but because of that, I think they expect it to be kind of a natural kind of thing anyway, because if the moments are natural, why would the portraits be any different? So I think is that you going or me?
Some people will actually,
that's mine. I'll just close it. Hold on.
Is it? I'm just closing it as well, just in case. There we go. Sorry.
Some people will book us because we are not showing portraits. That's almost a reason for us to book us. Yeah. But like I think if you show the right kind of moments on your website, then what you show is what you'll book. And also if you communicate in a way on your website that's pretty clear in terms of trying to keep, where possible, away from using industry terms that we might know, but people outside of the wedding industry, why should they know what a documentary wedding photographer is? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything to them. You know, if they think of documentary, they might think of like, you know, the History Channel or something. Like it's a completely discovery. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily the same thing. So keeping away from those kind of words can be useful. And then obviously when you have a meeting with them or a Skype or whatever it is, you can kind of explain it again. But of course, the biggest difficulty is not with the couple usually, it's with the guests, because they might have certain expectations of what a wedding is they've attended before. And usually that's just about, in the morning, when I arrive, I will just say, hey guys, relax, I'm not going to pose you. You just go about your day, have fun. And that's it. And usually they say, that's amazing, thank you. And then that's it.
Do they actually just go somewhere having fun themselves?
Yeah, I just follow them. Yeah, they
Yeah,
just do
yeah.
what they're gonna do, yeah. They just have their day, and we just kind of follow them.
So
Very
they never look to you guys, and so what should
No,
we do? No.
no,
No,
I'm just like, do what you're gonna do. It's
yeah.
okay.
I mean, like very recently, our brides and grooms have become sort of cheerleaders for us, in the sense that they have even like briefed the guests, like written it in, like, you know, they get the website, the wedding website, so they'll mention it on there, like there's going to be no posing,
Mhm.
and then the guests will, if someone tries to post something, one of the guests will say, no, the bride and groom don't want that. These guys are reportage, which is amazing. So we don't have to even say anything. But Liam's right. That was kind of the morning thing. But for the other guests, it seems that our brides and grooms sort of let them know there's not going to be loads of posing at all. Well, none for them.
And
And for the,
occasionally will like look at the camera and like look for a post picture. I'll just take it and move on. You know, it only takes
or
a second.
utilize it within the frame.
Or utilize it. Yeah, just shoot around it. It's cool.
Mhm.
You know, if people do want a portrait on the day, it's not as if I'm going to deny them of it. You
Yeah.
know, I'll take it. No worries. But usually it's like it's not. It might happen once or twice, but that's it.
But we only show on our website just unposed imagery, so I think that helps them to know what they're going to be getting, and that there's going to be no posing. Because for us, they're just the images that we love. You
Yeah.
know, they're the images that we get excited by. Anything that's posed just doesn't have the same feeling for us personally. So, like for us, that's why we do it, and then we get couples who like the same thing, and it's kind of circle.
Yeah.
So there's some questions coming in. Like in Indonesia, we have like people are more stiff, they're more reserved. So it's kind of hard for them to be natural. You have that problem as well over there
Yeah, yeah.
for English people?
Oh, Britain, it's full of people who are stiff.
Yeah, absolutely. But
That's how it is. You know?
that's the joy of documentary, because people are just being themselves.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. That's
you
how
know,
they are. Shoot that. Show that.
yeah, they are that. That's part of the boring doesn't have to be boring thing. You know, if people are stiff, that's interesting. It's like sometimes like it starts to rain and everyone's got umbrellas in the UK and they have them like this. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's as stiff as boards, but it's funny and interesting. So don't think, oh, this isn't something to photograph. Photograph what it is. You know,
Yeah.
like
So find interesting ways to show that kind of side of people's personalities. But if you show a certain type of thing on your website, you generally attract a certain type of person.
Mm-hmm. So our couples are really relaxed and chilled,
often,
mostly.
But
and then if the guests aren't, then we just utilize it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Just within the frame, you know, like if they're doing something unusual, like the last wedding we shot, you know, the one in March, you know, it was like there was some things that happened that were just so English, you know, it was just so like that just made a picture, but there were just a very split second, and like before it and after it, the image didn't work, and for that split second, it did. You know, if someone like was blowing their nose for a second, it was interesting, just for a second. The moments in between, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like most for us Indonesian here, we view all Caucasian Westerners the same. So we thought like you're like those other parts of Europe where they're more open and stuff, but obviously it's not like that. Right?
No. I mean, this
Stiff upper lip is what they say in England.
Exactly, stiff upper lip. Yeah. Every country is obviously extremely diverse in terms of the type of people and weddings that you're going to get. So yes, sometimes we have weddings that are very, very party heavy and relaxed, and sometimes they're more classical and people are a lot more serious. That's how it is, and I don't necessarily prefer one or the other. I like the variety of it. So there's always interest to be found everywhere.
Yeah, we like people being people, whatever kind of way that may take. That's interesting to us.
Yeah, I think when this Corona thing is over, I'll invite you guys to shoot like a typical Indonesian wedding.
Oh, I love that. That would be so interesting. Oh, I love it. Oh, it would be so good.
Yeah, so yeah, there's also some questions coming in about layering images, which is, yeah, it's a concept that it's fun to see, but hard to master. So what do you guys consider a good layered images?
Okay. I guess balance in the image is important.
Mhm.
Like how people are positioned around the frame is
No
important.
heads over heads, you know, so
Yeah,
you could like draw a line round, you know,
Mhm.
you don't want like somebody poking out behind somebody.
or a hand,
You know,
unless it was a cool one.
it needs to be nicely balanced in the image.
Mhm.
Also, you layering with no focus or no moment or interest, like layering for layering's sake, is not particularly interesting. There needs to be something something happening for the image still to work. There needs to still be a point to the image. Just because people are positioned nicely doesn't necessarily make an image good. It's just that's just the composition.
Yeah, sometimes you can have like one thing that's really interesting and then layered around it, or sometimes it's lots of little things that aren't that interesting, but when you put them together, they are. You know, they're just like very, very simple things, like a ball bounce, you know, boy bouncing a balloon or a ball or something, you know, and someone taking a drink. Not interesting, but balance them all together. Little tiny moments can make up a picture, or one big moment can make up a picture too.
Yeah, it's like they're more than the sum of their parts. So lots of little things together in a frame makes the image interesting. And then it's making sure that everyone's positioned in the right place, and also making sure the focus in the image is in the right place as well. Because if it's just in the wrong place, then your eye is attracted to the wrong part of the image. So you've got to make sure that you're focusing, you know how to build up that image.
It doesn't have to be just at the back. It depends on what's the most interesting thing. You know, what do you want to what do you want people to first look at? That's your focus point.
How often do you shoot layered images during the day, or you just try to aim for more layered and layered and layered?
Liam, how many often do you do it?
Constantly.
I have to call his work. Yes, yes, he layers a lot.
I would say 50% of all images I take on the day,
I think it's more than that.
maybe, are in some form of a layer, some form of multi-story.
There's a complexity to it, isn't there, though? There's like the really complex ones you do it, and then there's ones where it's just like two, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's just one or two. Sometimes it can have
11.
11 more, 20 elements happening all at the same time. And at that point, when it gets to more than a few, your eye can't concentrate on everything. So at that point, you kind of sort of know a few things that are happening in the frame, and the rest of it is just shapes. And you're trying to balance the shapes in the frame into an interesting kind of composition. And then at the same time, sort of having a little bit of a focus on the moment that you think is interesting.
The focus.
The focus point, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard Dom complaining about culling image. How many images do you need to cull per wedding?
Probably around 10,000. Would you say, Liam? It varies.
It varies. Depends on the length of the wedding. Like
so
if
it's just the two of you, right? The two of you?
Yeah, for two of us. But sometimes if the wedding is like 15 hours or something, then
10 to 15.
And it's got a long dance floor.
Oh
then
man,
that can go like 16, 17.
Because layering on the dance floor.
Really long,
yeah, I can imagine.
Really depends. But I'd say 10 is probably like a standard amount for a standard kind of length wedding.
But when I'm culling them, you know, if the image doesn't have an interesting moment or something, then the layer may not work. You know, they don't all work. You know, it depends, and they have to be balanced. You know, we have like a set of rules, and one of them is that like if something isn't clean, it goes. It's gone. You know, so if someone's got a head-on-head, however good it is, then it's out of there. Which is a harsh rule, but it just means it maintains our style.
So, like for instance, there's like 4 moments happening. And 3 are good moments, and 1 is just overlapping. You wouldn't choose that image?
No. If it was, if the image, no, it's gone.
No, it's gone.
If that composition failed and just broke the image, then that's it. That image is gone.
Well, composition is the language of storytelling. So if something doesn't work in it, then it's like reading a book. It would be like backwards. It wouldn't be right. It just visually wouldn't work. So you just have to accept that occasionally you have to get rid of good images, because they don't fit. But you know, we've been doing this a long time now, and there's not that many that happen like that. But sometimes they do, because people are moving. So you know, you do get
kind of moving with them. It all balances, you know.
Yeah.
So let me track back. So number 1 is composition.
Composition. It depends.
Yeah.
because it depends if you're going for a composition first led photograph or you're going for a moment led first photograph.
Yeah, very true.
So sometimes you're just looking around and you see a moment, and then you quickly have to figure out what's the best composition for that moment. And like the quicker that you can reduce the lag time between seeing a moment and figuring out the composition, the better chance you have of that photograph working. Because if you know the chances of you seeing something that's interesting and being stood in exactly the right place at that time are quite slim. Like it only happens a few times a year to me. That particularly, I'm like, oh my God, there it is, click. Most of the time I'm like, there's a moment and I have to walk over, figure out what it is, how am I going to tell this story very quickly before the moment ends. So, or I see the chemistry of an image coming together. So I'm like, oh, that's got potential, something's about to happen there. And then I have to figure out it. Or it can be nothing's happening, nothing or very little, but you're going to build the picture up by using strong composition first. So you find the composition that is strong, and then you wait for the moment to happen. The problem with that way of doing things is that at weddings, you've got like a time limit, obviously. So you can't just wait out indefinitely. Like you might think, oh, one or two elements here, but nothing, it's not really happening. So I will give that maybe a few minutes maximum, and then I'll move on. And it'll either something happened within that composition or it didn't.
Whereas on the street, you're going to last a lot longer.
Yeah, for street photography, I take that composition first approach a lot. Sometimes I'll wait 20 minutes.
I have another controversial question. Do you crop?
A little bit, but I try not to.
Try and crop in camera, if you will. Getting closer.
Like for getting the best moment, just to eliminate all other stuff. Do you do that as like?
I mean, not massively.
No.
I might straighten the image slightly and like crop in a tiny bit if there's something on the edge, but I tend not to do any harsh kind of crops just because you lose quality and you kind of, I don't know, it kind of looks a bit strange. So
and try and keep it consistent, and kind of our rule is to basically crop in camera to make sure that if there's anything that shouldn't be in the frame, get it out of the frame, get that information out when you take the picture. That information is just lost otherwise. So
I have no problem with cropping though. You know, I'd rather see someone's picture that's cropped that's good rather than a picture that was not cropped that wasn't good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of our rules, because we're a duo as well, we have to kind of like have a set of rules that we kind of keep to keep ourselves consistent to the style. So, and that's just another one of them.
Yeah. But yeah, so crop a little, but not much.
Yeah.
So I have another question from one of the viewers. When you first started to shoot in this particular style, did it come naturally to you, or do you still have some doubts on what to do on the day? Do you have like, do you still think, oh, I need to shoot this because it's how people shoot weddings? Do you have those kind of doubts?
Not really. Basically, I just take what feels natural to me. So what interests me, and trust that the couple have booked me for those kind of images. So that's what I've got to take. But at the same time, you know, sometimes I'll take pictures of, you know, if there's a detail, I'll take a detail, but I'll try and include somebody with the detail. It won't necessarily just be a detail on its own. I try and show kind of it in context of the wedding day, rather than just like product photography. I try to have it amongst what's going on.
I was a lot more nervous going into weddings when I was trying to be someone else, be another kind of photographer, like, you know, oh, how do you do this kind of image? Like, you know, because some things just don't come naturally to you. And if you're trying to like force yourself to photograph them, then that can make you much more nervous. By doing something that just feels natural, then you feel good. You feel confident going into the wedding, and your couple hopefully totally got that as well, and they've seen the work that you do, and so everyone's on the same page. So the nerves is much more of a kind of on the same level kind of experience, and everyone just feels as confident as you can do.
So who convinced who to do street style photography?
It wasn't a convincing.
No, it wasn't. I guess. Yeah, there wasn't really any kind of.
It wasn't a plan. It wasn't street style wedding photography. It was just let's do street.
people said that about our work to us.
Yeah, we didn't call it that.
Yeah, we didn't say, right, from now on, we're going to be street style. Like, there was never, nobody stood up and made an announcement at any point. Like, I didn't one day just stand up to my chair and just said to the room, today, from now on, it's street style wedding photo. Like, it didn't happen. Like,
No.
we started by shooting street photography. We started to see different kinds of moments on wedding days, and we took those pictures, put that on our blog. That our style progressively changed, and other photographers started saying to us, "Oh, you're very your work is very street styled," and for us that was kind of like, okay, I guess it is. But we were just taking pictures that we thought were interesting, rather than trying to be kind of like street style wedding photographers. Like that was never any kind of conscious decision.
No, it's just we were photographing street, and it started to seep into our work, and that's what people said. But we didn't make a plan. It was just a natural kind of progression that felt right to us.
Yeah. The only thing we ever decided was we wanted to go and shoot street photography to try and improve ourselves as photographers.
Yeah.
That was really the only decision we ever made that was, I guess, towards street photography. But it wasn't to change our wedding work. It was just to be better and to be creatively inspired and to kind of improve ourselves as photographers, because we felt like we were getting to a point where we were stagnating and we wanted to kind of progress. Because, if you want to stay in the industry repeatedly for a long time, you need to still be excited about going to weddings. You still want to be excited to do your job, I mean, I love shooting weddings. Like, it's my favorite thing I prefer to shoot weddings now than to do street photography, because I'm doing it, producing something that somebody cares about. So like, for me, that's like, it's the best job, and I'm going to miss it terribly.
I'm going to miss it terribly too.
Oh.
When we were at our last wedding, we were both like, oh, we love this. We love our job, and we love taking these kind of imagery, and we love making these moments for our couples. So yeah, we're gonna really miss it, but hopefully we'll be back soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, I'll just give another question that's to lighten up the mood. So this is like one of the viewers asked this. If there's a bridesmaid who, like, do you shoot couples that have bridesmaids and groomsmen? And do they interrupt you guys? Do they say, oh, our wedding photographer did this and blah, blah, and some of those stuff?
Never the groomsmen. Never.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry, the bridesmaids.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no, not really. I mean, there was a crossover period where, yes, they did. And occasionally it might happen, but like the bride normally is just like, no. Like, it's so funny. Like, one of the weddings we did, and the bridesmaids were like, let's pick the bride up. And the bride just went, no. Just absolutely not. It just gave me a look of just like, don't you dare. Which is brilliant, because they totally like are on board with what we do, and sometimes they can be kind of, even in front of their friends, like, no, we're not doing this. Like, or if they do, you can see that they're like, please don't photograph this, which is really funny. But like, if they did, then that's fine, because it's their wedding day and we want them to be happy. And besides, you can get moments through those kind of things as well, You just have to see it in a different light, and again, embrace it.
Yes, yeah.
So like for bridal party portraits, you just photograph them hanging out or stuff like that?
Bridal party portrait? No, we don't do
portraits. It's a thing in the industry. Like, there's portraits with the bridesmen and groomsmen. They usually take photos together. Do you just take them hanging out, or just what do you do with?
So we do like the during the groups. Yes, I'll do those. But like in the morning, like the bride doesn't normally ask me to take any pictures, and we certainly don't do like a picture of the bride on her own looking down with the dress. It's just not something that our brides would ever ask for. They just want to have fun.
But do you take photos like with the parents, portraits with the parents? Do you do those stuff?
Yeah, that's part of the group's list. Yeah,
but no, like during the preparation, or
no. But, I mean, occasionally, and if it happens, then that's fine. But it's not. there's no list. No one's told me beforehand. If it happens quite spontaneously, and they'll say, could you just take a picture? And I'm like, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? But it's not, I think that the difficulty is with when brides and grooms give you lists, and they, you know, like throughout the whole day, it's like bridal prep, and it's like, picture this, picture this, picture this, and, you know, and groom prep, blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize, but what they're doing is, even at the time, if you were asked just to do it on the fly, it's a lot easier, because if you've got it on your mind, then it's actually, it's kind of getting in the way of you getting spontaneous moments, you know? So it's almost like,
things.
Sorry?
You're worried about other things.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you can't help but think, I've got to get these pictures because they've asked me. Whereas if they just asked you at the time, which is what sometimes they ask me, it's fine, you know, because I've been concentrating on just the documentary, and then they'll be like, oh, could you just do this picture? It doesn't happen very often, and it's not a big deal if they do. But I think the list, or, you know, like I want the bride, I want the dress doing, the shoes doing, all that kind of stuff. Like, we don't get that at all. But it must be very difficult if you do, because you feel like you've got to go in and you've got to photograph them first. Whereas, you know, we don't photograph those imagery. You know, if we do, we'll do them with human elements.
Yeah, we know about these things because it used to be a thing that happened to us.
Yeah.
Like it was, we used, you know, yes, we used to have lists. Yes, used to have lots of groups and portraits and things that we had to do at every stage of the wedding that was written out for us. Yeah, we've had that, not for many, many years, but we have had it. So we kind of know what it's like to have that, and we know it's difficult, but we made a conscious, I guess, or unconscious in some ways, decision to move away from that kind of.
So now, would you say that you don't have a must-have photo list on a wedding day?
No.
Not must. I mean, you want pictures at certain, like you want to have a ceremony.
Well, yeah, but I think it means like a must-have from the bride and groom. They don't give us a list in that way, apart from groups if they have any.
It still wants to look somewhat like wedding photography at the end. You know?
You can't just have a man who looks like a dog.
No, you can't just have strangeness going on.
Yeah, absolutely. No. We want to take great pictures for our couples, and we want to take images for ourselves, and we want them to want what we want as well, you know, so that everyone matches in. So it's like, we'll take images that we love that they'll love too.
Pictures that we think are important, and, you know, just thinking like if it was my wedding, what are the pictures that I would want, you know? What would be something that's important to me? And, you know, I wouldn't find details particularly, it wouldn't be something that appeals to me, but some people it'd be massively appealing, and that's what they want. So it doesn't make sense for me to shoot things that aren't important that I don't find important, you know? Because
people who do find them important do them really, really well. You know, they do like the rings, and they do a whole thing, and I'm like, wow, you know, it's like you know, they use lights and everything, you know, and great. If they want to do that and they're happy doing it and the couple are happy doing it, then all good. But for us, it's not something that we would want. And if we do show the shoes, I only ever show them when to putting them on, because I enjoy that part of it. It's interesting.
The world is diverse. People are diverse. Weddings should be diverse.
Photography is diverse.
Yeah. That's
the joy of it.
Hold on, let me write that. Wedding is diverse. All right, back to street photography. Back to street photography during weddings. How do you be stealthy on weddings? Like, do people come and talk to you, or you just put on a straight face and just do your stuff?
Sometimes it depends on the wedding, depends on the people. Like, sometimes you need to be quite talkative because that's what they want. And sometimes you need to be quiet and not say anything because that's what they want. And kind of instinctively, you can kind of get that feeling. Like, I don't try to impose myself on them. I try to mold myself to the situation that's required to be able to get the right kind of images. So that can be just kind of mirroring the environment, mirroring the people to be what they need me to be on the day to allow me to get the pictures that I need to get. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll arrive and I won't take a picture for like 20 minutes. I'll just talk to them and get to know them. And that's what's needed in that situation. And sometimes I go in, and I'm photographing, I'm quite close to people, I'm taking pictures, and that's what they needed too. So I can really quite quickly realize what kind of person this I'm shooting, what they need from me, what they need me to be, and then I'll kind of find a way to shoot that situation.
Yeah, you just got to take it. Everyone's different, so you've just got to take the situation and what it is. You know, if a bride is really, really quiet in the morning, then I'm not going to be all loud. But if it's really a loud situation, then I will kind of join in, not in a like much, but just like to feel like I'm in the right vibe. It's like the right wavelength, I guess. Yeah, like the right wavelength, so that everyone. So I feel like I just fit into the situation that I am. That's in front of me. So kind of mirroring what's going on, I guess.
And we use Fujifilm cameras, which are quite small, which allow us as well.
Yeah, we're gonna head to that later.
Okay. We'll hold that one.
But yeah, they're discreet and they make people, I think, feel comfortable because they just feel like little cameras, you know?
Yeah. So what's a job well done considered for you guys? Like, what's a good wedding shoot for you both?
That's a good question. I guess when you can look through the whole day and you know that you've done a good job of every single aspect of the wedding day, and you feel like, yeah, this is, you know, I can look through the whole day and I know it's just that it's shot in a high quality manner. That's when I feel like I've done a good job.
I see.
And I guess you only feel like you've truly done a good job when you get the response from the couple.
Yeah, that's true. It's nice to get something that you really like, oh wow, this image, you know, we could have on the front page of our website. That's really nice. But yeah, I agree with Liam. Like the true thing is if the whole wedding is of a standard that you're really proud of, that's the most important thing. It's not about one singular image, it's about the collection of them all.
Yeah.
All right. Is the connection okay?
Yeah, I'm just wondering. It's a bit laggy at the moment.
Yeah. I'll just turn off the video, your faces. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
Please do.
I'll try. Yeah. Okay. A bit more. All right. Is it?
I've got a hilarious image of you up right now.
Yeah, let's try to put it on again. It feels quite weird.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh dear. Maybe it'll.
Yeah. Let's start the video again.
You want me to start? Yeah. Okay.
Was mine lagging?
Everyone, I think. Yeah.
Was it? I only saw Liam's that was lagging. I just thought it was just Liam's, but I couldn't understand that because Liam has an amazing connection. Mine's the one that's not so good.
Yeah. All right. Yes. So let's talk about Fujifilm. Why do you choose an APS-C sensor camera where most of the industry right now are using full frame stuff to be more professional?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess you choose the camera that fits the style that's best for you. So for us, Fujifilm APS-C sensor is the best because we are not going around shooting at like wide open apertures. We are kind of shooting kind of multi-layered kind of images, and therefore the APS-C sensor helps compress the image and allows you to work at wider apertures and get more focus. And by doing that, we can kind of work in our style, our layered kind of multi-story style in lower light conditions. So we can be on the dance floor and have a little bit more focus on people, or you can be outside and you can shoot at f8 and get more depth in your images than you would if you were shooting on a full frame image.
Which then looks quite streety in turn.
And also because we shoot street photography on our Fujifilm cameras, it kind of makes sense to kind of use the same camera for all things that we do.
Yeah, it's nice that way so that everything's consistent.
And they're small and they're discreet and they handle lovely.
And they're light.
Yeah. So there's
the colours lovely. There's yeah, we love them. Yeah, we were using them since 2016 exclusively, when we took them to Cuba, and we bought 2 to take with us. They were literally just came out, and we were using them for a couple of days, and we were like, oh, okay, these are special. And then when we came back, we did our first wedding, and I used the cameras. Was that right, Liam? I think I did. Yeah, and I messaged you after when I was going through the cull and just said, we're going Fujifilm. You've got to go Fujifilm. And then you got one, and you were like, and that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, not look back.
Before that, I used the X-T1 just as weddings as well, alongside my Canon. But because it only had a single slot, I was like, probably should keep using the Canon as well. But I love the X-T1. And Liam kept saying, like, you can't keep taking pictures on the X-T1. You need to make sure we've got a backup.
Yeah.
So when the X Pro 2 came out, and then we had the backup, and so many other features, like the EVF is so much better than we had before. Like, and we were doing our low light kind of images using the Canon, but like the Fujifilm camera just gave us, with the X Pro 2 particularly, just gave us another element of being able to see what we're actually doing on the dance floor. And yeah, the APS-C sensor was an unexpected kind of joy to our work.
But it was only in practice we were like, okay, this is actually much more suitable for the type of images that we want to take. Like, this is clearly the best camera for us for the type of images we need. This is the camera that's going to help us get those images, because you want your camera to be the least resistance between your idea and what you see. You don't want it to be getting in the way. So pick a camera that's going to help you in that regard. And
we were using the Fujifilm X-T1, weren't we, for our street work at the time? Because you had one as well. So we were both using the X-T1s, and then we were moving, when we were doing our wedding work, you were shooting Canon, right? You were shooting on the 5D Mark III. Yeah, and I was shooting on the 5D Mark III plus the Fujifilm X-T1, and then we swapped. But like, it was kind of odd that we were like using the Fujifilm X-T1, and we were all happy with that, like for our street work, and then we were moving for our weddings, even though we were doing the same thing. So it just didn't work for us to.
Yeah. And just the fact that you were taking better images on the X-T1, like you were just consistently getting better images on that. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, well, like my favorite picture of the little, well, one of my very favorite old pictures, the little girl with the pink balloon holding the thing. That's on the Fujifilm X-T1, which is one of the only pictures that's kind of survives from like the 2013. Like, not many pictures, obviously, as you go along on your portfolio update, and most of them are 2016 onwards. But that image still remains, and that was taken on the Fujifilm X-T1. So I was taking pictures all the time on it. And Liam was like, "There's no backup." But yeah, it was a great camera, and I was getting better images on it.
So what are the combination of lenses that you both use mostly on weddings?
So we use the lens that's used the most is the 23 1.4.
Why? I heard that it's a slower lens, like focus wise.
Slower?
Good enough for you?
Yeah, so I'm told. But to be honest, it's more than fast enough for me. Like I've never struggled with the speed of it. So it's always been. I have heard people say that before, but it's never been an issue. And maybe it's just the way we shoot. In terms of like, we usually will get focus, I guess, before the moment. So there's like a hold focus down and then wait for the moment that comes like a second later. So perhaps that's why. But yeah, that most of our work, I'd say probably 90% of it is taken on that lens. And then we also have the 56 1.2. We have the 16 1.4. They're our main lenses. And then there's the 35 1.4 and
an 18.
And the 19. Oh yeah, and the 18. 90 and 18.
Oh yeah, which I have. So I have the 90 just in case I can't move at the back of the church or something, or for any reason like that. And then the 18 I have on the what's it, an EX3 is it called?
Yeah, the EX3.
Yeah, and Liam just recently got the X100V as well.
Do you like that camera?
A lot.
Oh, it's so good.
I shot at the last wedding we did. I shot quite a lot of the wedding on that camera, and
But it's a single shot, a single slot. Sorry.
I know. I just said that. I know. I realised when I was saying about XT1, and I was like, I just realised because
I made sure it was at parts of the day where I made sure that Dom was also
there,
there and shooting as well. But
cars are really reliable now.
I kind of trust cameras now and memory cards a lot more.
Yeah.
But
it's a delight of a camera, though.
It is an amazing camera, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be our main street camera, and yes, going to be used a lot of weddings as well. It's just so good. The EVF is so crisp. The focus is really great.
It is the everyday camera that's just with me all the time.
Oh, look at it, and it's so small. I love it. And we can't use it at the moment because it can't go outside.
Can't go out.
I'm actually using that camera to just photograph my home right now.
Really?
Yeah. I'm stuck with it also. I was supposed to send it back to Fuji, but they're working from home, so no one's at the office.
Yeah,
so it took me a bit longer.
Yeah, well, we got ours, and we knew we had the wedding, so it worked out really well that we were able to shoot with it because we've got some pictures, and it was just really fun. But obviously at the moment we're all housebound, so until then. But it was a joy, wasn't it?
Yeah, really great. Focus was super fast on that.
On the dance floor as well.
Really quick.
Does yours get a bit warm on the side?
I've heard people say that ours hasn't yet. I've not noticed it, but it was quite cold for the wedding. So it's in England, so I mean, you know what I mean. So I don't think, maybe if it was really hot, then
maybe that's.
You don't notice that in the summer more. But
what do you mean? No, there was no problem like that, was it? And you shot a lot on it.
Yeah, because it's weather sealed. I have heard people saying with a video, especially, that it gets really hot. But it's cold in England, so you wouldn't.
You wouldn't know. But yeah, it's a delight. Highly recommend it as a street camera and as a little backup for weddings. Because it can just go in your bag. Just goes in our little owner bag.
So yeah, I saw your images. They don't use off-camera flash, right?
No.
So how high your ISO could go up to if you're shooting wedding?
We generally try 32 to 6400 is kind of where we go. I never go higher than that.
Never needed to.
No, never needed.
I think with the APS-C sensor, you don't need to go any higher.
Because if you shoot 6400 or 1.4, then it can be extreme. If it goes darker than that, you can't see. That's what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
So, at that point, it's it just doesn't really occur at weddings. It's never that dark.
It's like a dream as well, because for us, we used to do the same technique on the Canon 5D, and it was so much harder back then. It was ridiculously hard. Whereas now, there's just so many options that you're given, and you can go higher than 6400, but we don't need to. So we love the grain of 3200 and 6400, I guess. That's the main thing. We love the grain.
And you can always if it is a little bit darker, you can just up the exposure in Lightroom because the ISO invariant anyway, these new cameras. So you can up the exposure and the picture doesn't fall apart anymore. There's no banding or anything, and no kind of weird, whatever it was called, where it kind of falls apart like it used to on cameras with the sensors. So now you can just up it by a couple of stops, and if you need to, and it looks fine.
Perfect, guys. We've talked quite a bit now, so maybe we'll wrap it up in one last question from our viewers.
Good.
So pick this one's pick 3 words to describe your photography style.
Oh, that's
in
nice.
your own opinion.
Yes.
Humorous.
Humorous, yeah. Connections
Yeah, connections.
And
Family?
yeah,
Family. I was going to say people, but then I thought, you know what? It's family. So what did we say? Humorous, connections, and family. There we go. It's a nice little question. What would you say, Vinda?
For you guys,
No, well, yeah, for you, and then yeah, that'd be interesting.
for me, freedom, spontaneous, and surreal.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love
For you,
freedom.
yeah. For you guys, layers,
yeah.
layers, humor, and unexpected.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
They're good, yeah. They
That's
might be
really.
better our choices. Yeah, well done.
Yeah. I loved freedom because I can totally see that in your work.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really cool.
And one last question. This one, will you do another workshop in Indonesia or Bali or anywhere in this part of the world?
Oh,
We would love to. Once I'm allowed out of my house, then out of the country, then yes, I would love to.
We can drink more dragon fruit juice here.
That's
man.
the dream. I miss it very much.
Yeah, we had the best time at your workshop, and like we made so many friends, and that like obviously we speak to a little bit online, but it's not the same. So yeah, we'd absolutely love to come back, see you all. It'd be amazing. Such good times. One day we'll be able to leave our house again.
Yeah. I hope I can visit you guys at the UK also.
Sorry.
I hope I can visit both of you in the UK.
Of course,
also.
yeah.
Oh, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, you can do a workshop over here.
Yeah, we have a studio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come over. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll represent Fujifilm Indonesia.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean there's a beach, but it's not quite the same as the one we went to.
No.
Oh
So-
man, during that light, it was absolutely insanely good. Oh man, what that was
Really?
so
The light?
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. There was that but on
The
the beach.
floodlights.
There was
Oh
that
yeah,
flood
yeah, yeah.
lit up the beach with the sun setting. It looked really cool.
It was just a really special time.
Okay, one more question. Like, what do you miss the most from Indonesia? Since there's a lot of Indonesian watching here.
The food.
The dragon fruit.
Yeah. The food. 100% the food.
You guys, because that was really special. Really had so much fun, and the food.
Yeah.
That dragon fruit. I've looked. I can't grow it. It's not possible. I can't get the seeds.
Doesn't work here.
Oh, it was just so great. Yeah, no, the food is incredible, and just oh god, it's such
People were
a
so friendly
beautiful
as well.
place.
It was a really lovely time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Definitely.
really lovely time. Yeah.
We'd love to come.
Alright. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for talking to me and sharing so much for the Indonesian viewers here.
Oh,
Absolutely.
loved it. Thank you for asking us.
Yeah, thank you.
If anyone has any questions, they can give us a message as well. You know,
Yeah.
they do,
just-
and we love chatting with people.
So just direct message you guys on your Instagram.
Yeah, at Your Place Studio. As Your Place Studios? Yeah, at Your Place Studios it is. Yeah.
Yeah, just DMs.
Yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. We love staying in contact with people. I make it a mission to stay in contact with everyone. So yeah, absolutely any questions they have, then bring them on.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
Hope you have a great afternoon after this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Take
Good
care,
night.
everyone.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.